Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be: Is a happy relationship with a far leftist impossible? Well, this particular email is from a viewer. He lives in a rural area, and he was initially really excited when he met his, I guess apparently now ex girlfriend. And he noticed shortly thereafter she started policing his speech, telling him what he could and couldn't say, what he could and couldn't believe, insulting him, getting upset at who he followed on social media, and just basically, excuse me, bossing him around. So, she just wore him down so much, he said he quit working out and he started drinking like she did, because I guess she drank all the time. So on their last time they were together, she was just constantly insulting him, telling him he was a racist, or because he supported Trump, just all these nasty things. And he didn't say a word, just dropped her off. He's like, we haven't spoken in 2 weeks, and you could tell he's pretty much over it. So, personally, I've seen this in my own family. I've seen it with some of my friends that are on the left. It's like, especially over the last 10 years. They continue to go further and further left to the point where they just became insufferable to be around. My parents had the same experience. Some of their friends are on the left that they used to hang out with, go on trips, vacations together, dinners, really cool people. And over the last, 8 or 9 years, it's like they just, anything on Facebook, they're an absolute expert. It could be foreign policy, it could be guns, things they know absolutely nothing about. They're all of a sudden experts on it, on everything. And their opinion, of course, is right. And if you question it, then obviously you're just stupid or a racist or whatever. And it's like, we've all, in my family, we've seen a lot of people that were friends, even some family members, where we don't talk anymore just because they're just insufferable. And every time you get around them, as soon as the topic comes up, they just flip out, start insulting everybody. And it's just pretty crazy. What's interesting, I was reading an article a couple weeks ago. It was saying that about 80% of the population just believes whatever the government says, would trust the authority blindly, won't believe any evidence to the contrary. And it's like 80% of them. And it makes sense, having been a coach all these decades I've been doing this, is that most people, they don't want personal responsibility for their own lives. And anyone or anything that basically alleviates your personal responsibility for your own life, especially when they say, we're going to take care of you, we're going to give you this, we're going to give you that, we're going to give you money, we're going to do this, we're going to cut, we're going to cut your taxes, we're going to give you credits or whatever. They'll give everything up just to have the government be their mommy. I mean, it's like when you look at the American Revolution, only about 3% of the American colonists fought in, and financed the Revolutionary War. When you read the Founding Fathers and all the people that sided with the colonists and the revolutionaries, a lot of them lost everything. They lost their farms, they lost their livestock, they lost their relationships, they lost their families. Family members got killed. And the overwhelming majority of the colonists really had nothing to do with the Revolutionary War. It was only about 3% of them that created this democratic constitutional republic that we have, that we're trying to hold on to. And the people that want the government to be their mommy are doing everything they can to put all power in a central government, which obviously, when you study history, it never ends well when that happens. The government at some point eventually just starts killing people. And when you look at especially what was on Twitter, people on the left just openly calling for anybody that didn't get the jab, they felt that they were killing people. And so therefore they deserved to be put in an internment camp and executed because they refused to get the shot. I mean, it was pretty sobering to see that and how people really thought. And they just believed that if you didn't comply, you were an enemy of the people and you should be killed. It was surprising, very shocking, and it was illuminating. So, and if you ever saw any of the videos with Yuri Bezmenov, the former defector, he was the guy that ran the ideological subversion campaign for the Soviets, and he defected, I think it was in the late 1970s. And there's lots of videos on the internet where you can see them lay it all out and how they ideologically subverted or were working since the 40s and 50s, even before that, to subvert the United States and any kind of democracy. And one thing he said is that once somebody has been demoralized, in other words, when they've accepted that communism, Marxism, socialism, collectivism, when they've accepted that ideology, then they basically give up any personal responsibility for their own lives. The reason why they're not successful or they don't have money is always somebody else's fault. And they'll fight it to the death. And he says that, they cannot recognize true facts or information anymore. They're not able to look at it and entertain facts and data. If it goes against their ideology, they ridicule it, they dismiss it. I've had these conversations with people on the left on Twitter over the years. You send them a video and they dismiss it. Oh, that's a joke. That's ridiculous. The most recent thing was with the ICE shooting with, what's her name? The woman that, ran into the ICE officer. There were 3 camera angles. And the one camera angle that was from behind the driver's side, where the agent is kind of hidden until she bumps into him. It almost looks like he just kind of steps out of the way around the car from that angle. And that's what the media showed. So anybody that saw the mainstream media was like, oh, he just shot her for no reason. But when you see the other 2 camera angles, you can clearly see her running into him and knocking him. Luckily, she bumped him and he got around the side. But if he'd have fallen back, she would have run his ass right over. Probably killed him. Because that same agent got drugged like 300 yards about 6 months before, got 30-something stitches, fucked him up. So you can understand he was a little... And then on top of that, he had internal bleeding in his hip from the impact of the car. And then you got, what's his name? Jacob Fry, the Minnesota white guy who, is the mayor of Little Somalia in Minnesota. He's like, oh, he could have got that injury, closed his refrigerator door. It's just... And then I would, these people would be telling me, oh, look, here's this one video, just showing what the mainstream media showed. And I would send them the other angles, and they would just laugh at it and dismiss it or just not even respond after that. They just didn't want to hear it. They wouldn't accept it, even though you could see it. You could see the guy get hit, even zoomed in and close-up shots of it. They still just refused to believe it. It's like, that's exactly what he was talking about. So it's, when somebody has been demoralized by the propaganda, it's like facts and information, reality. They can't accept it. They won't acknowledge it. Yuri said the only way they finally realize that they were wrong or they wake up is when they're in the gulag and their nuts are getting crushed under the boot of one of the people in there, abusing them, interrogating them, torturing them, or whatever. But until that point, it's like you're just not going to get through. And I've noticed this over the years. You send them stuff, it's like how can you look at the video and see something completely different? It's like one of the things that Scott Adams said. It's like everybody's watching the same movie, but they see 2 completely different things. It's pretty nutty, pretty crazy. And so this is just some of the things that this guy's experienced with this girl that he dated for about 2 years. It's like you date somebody like this who's diametrically opposed to pretty much everything you believe in or stand for or you discuss. And she's I'm surprised that he's stuck with her all this time because she was really nasty and really insulting him and condescending. Like she's an expert on everything and he's a moron, a racist, terrible person, white supremacist, the whole fucking 9 yards. So it's like, I think everybody watching this has, had people like this. I've got people in my own family that are doctors and they're on the left and they believe everything. They've given their kids every single injection. What my nephew's got autism and my niece, this is on my aunt's side. They're in their 20s. And one of them is dying of, was it prostate or colon cancer? I think it's colon cancer. And the other one's dying of either throat or lung cancer. It's like never been a smoker or anything like that. It's like 22 and 27 years old. And their parents gave him every single injection, jab, booster shot. There's no way they would ever acknowledge reality that what they did to their kids basically shortened their lives. My uncle went and got, because he wanted to travel, because he was retired, he went and got the jab, and he got fucking myocarditis, now he's got a pacemaker. And it's probably shortened his life And that shit kind of pisses me off, you know? And people go, oh, Corey, that's just anecdotal. There's no such thing as turbo cancers. And then yet you see on Twitter every day there's some article, scientists are baffled why so many people are dropping dead suddenly, or they got all these cancers that are really aggressive. They're just totally baffled by it. And yet it's one thing they all have in common is the clot shots. And the other thing we know is that the quality control was really shitty. In some cases, the shots were very weak and were mostly like placebo. In other batches, people got overdosed. And they had high incidences of people that got those batches dying in droves. But again, the evidence is out there. It's like all the governments of the world have been, especially in Asia, Japan, they've looked into it. And, the stats are troubling, but people on the left will just completely ignore it. I got members of my own family who just, they're never going to admit that, what they did is cause their kids to die. But that's the world we live in. Pretty fucking crazy. It seems insane when you think about it. And just the fact that, I'm talking about this after all these years is like, it's like something out of a fucking bad movie. So he says, hey, Coach, I followed you for a few years, and you have posted videos responding to me before, and you helped me a lot in securing my last relationship. She was the prettiest woman I've dated, and since there are hardly any women in my area, I was excited to be with her. So he's got a little bit of a scarcity mindset, probably because he lives in the middle of nowhere. Things were great at first, but about 2 or 3 months in, she saw that I followed Andrew Tate on Twitter. I had watched some of his videos for inspiration during a tough breakup, mainly just to get inspired to hit the gym and toughen up. And of course, I had issues with some things that he has done, as you've touched on before. Yeah, he's a fucking garbage human. I wouldn't want anything to do with that guy. He's a pathological liar. He said, but when his political takes, most of the time I listen to him, I was like, yeah, I totally agree with that. But, the way he lives his life, the way he talks about women, the way he acts around them, especially when you look at the conversations and all the stuff that came out, all the evidence that's been out there, it's like, that guy is full of shit. I wouldn't want that guy anywhere near my daughters, that's for sure. He says, but I still found him funny and mostly correct when it comes to women. She went full woke on me, demanding that I not follow him. I told her nobody. That's the other thing. I noticed people on the left. It's like they only follow people on the left. They will not follow anybody on the right. But I follow people on all sides just to hear what they're saying. He says, she went full woke on me, demanding I not follow him. And I told her nobody is going to order me who I'm allowed to follow on Twitter. And I told her I can follow anyone I want. Remember, easygoing, easy to get along with. She's nice to you. She makes your dick hard, not your life hard. And this woman is clearly making his life hard. To the point where you'll see, he questions himself. He starts to let himself go. A woman like this she'll ruin your life. After that, she fully revealed just how woke she was. It was constant. She moved in with me pretty quickly, and every day while I was working, she would always text me whatever current event was going on about how all conservatives are evil and how moral leftists are. Yeah, I call that the I'm a good person delusion. I've seen it with some of my own friends in the left. They all of a sudden became experts in guns and started lecturing me on pistol and rifle. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Really? You're going to lecture me with all the training that I've had? It's like, get the fuck out of here. But didn't matter. Didn't want to hear anything I had to say anymore. They were expert all of a sudden on guns. Just through osmosis. She sounded extremely childish every time. She would tell me things like, so you support child abuse if you support Trump. I can't be with someone who supports all that evil. Yeah, what about all the women that have been sexually assaulted and brutalized, and all the members of all of our fellow citizens have gotten murdered and abused at the hands of these people? Oh, it's just a one-off, Corey. It doesn't happen very often. Like it's just not a big deal. It's totally acceptable. Oh, it's just women and children coming across the border, even though it's mostly military-age males with no women, no children. I can't be with someone who supports all that evil. He says it was literally every single woke talking point. Yeah, I would hear the same things. Oh, Corey, nobody needs a 30-round magazine. Oh, nobody's trying to take your guns. She would police my language and always accuse me of being some extreme racist person. This was constant every single day, endless texts. Oh, man. Like I said, it reminds me of my parents, one of their friends who we saw you hang out with. He was a cool guy. His family's all conservative, and he's like the only lefty. And his family did a lot of business with the Trump family for the last 30 years. And he absolutely fucking hates Trump. He just like, it broke his brain when Trump became president. This guy, the diatribes that he would go on Facebook or when we get together, it's just like, oh, bro, come on, dude. He was insufferable, and so we don't talk to him anymore. This was constant every single day, endless texts. I would try to diffuse and redirect, but it never worked. I always thought if I was just a little bit more masculine, she would fall into line and lighten up. Nope. All she did was constantly threaten breakups and harass me for my conservative views. It really dragged me down. 2 years of that. I quit working out and developed a bad alcohol habit like she has. Well, you become who you hang out with the most. You attract how you act. You are who you associate with. I talk about that a lot. You know, especially if you're fit and in shape and you start dating a woman who looks good, but she doesn't exercise, has no interest in it, and tries to get you not to go to the gym just to hang out with her, eventually you'll stop going to the gym and you'll become just like her. That's why it's important that you share the same goals and share the same values. And this guy clearly doesn't have the same values, even though he tried. You know, he's living in a rural area. There's not a lot of, he doesn't meet a lot of girls. And he was like, oh, finally. But he says, I recently dropped her off at her house without saying a word because she was drunk and rude towards me at a concert. She called me names and deleted me from location sharing. Haven't spoken in 2 weeks. I guess I dodged a bullet, but it still makes me sad. I miss her family. I'm extremely isolated where I live, but I don't know any way to solve the issue. It seems she can't be reasoned with. That's what we've all noticed. And again, Yuri Bezmenov, if you watch the videos, the ones that he did with G. Edward Griffin back in the 1980s, he goes through all that in extensive detail and explains why this is and why it happens. Is this inevitable with these far leftist, woke, feminist women? It's like, that's what I've seen. I've done a bunch of videos over the last several years that this has really become an issue. And there was the one girl, my feminist green-haired girlfriend, I think, and she was the one that wrote in. But her boyfriend was a cop, and while I guess they met because she had some kind of legal issue going on. She was a victim of a crime or something like that, and he was a detective. But after the case was done and finalized, he asked her out. They started dating, and she stopped coloring her hair green. She grew her hair out. She got real feminine, and she submitted to him. So it doesn't mean 100% of them can't see the other side, but when you have somebody that's like this, that no matter how much information or data or facts or stories or evidence you give them, they're just going to dismiss it or ridicule it. They won't accept it. They'll tell you that you're stupid, that you're an idiot, you know, that you're blind, that you've been brainwashed, you're part of a cult, and you know, the whole fucking 9 yards. So it's like, when somebody is too far gone, the fact that you stayed with this girl for 2 years putting up with this stuff, it's like, dude, you should get a medal for that. I certainly wouldn't have put up with it because, you know, I've seen it in my own family and I've seen it with friends of mine on the left. It's like they just got to the point where they sounded crazy and nutty. It's like every one of them, like during the lockdowns, they didn't leave their house for 2 years. They didn't interact with anybody. They wouldn't even let anybody come over unless they were jabbed. And even then, they didn't want people coming over because they were afraid, despite the fact they were jabbed, that they might, you know, still get it from somebody else, even though they're vaccinated. That's the whole purpose of a vaccine. It's supposed to prevent transmission, but obviously we now know that wasn't really the case. I mean, you can see the compilation videos when they started out. 100% efficacy. And even Fauci, it went from 100%, then it was 90%, it was 80, 85%, and it was like 50%, and then they just stopped talking about the efficacy, and it's like, Well, everybody needs to get jabbed, just as a precaution. So here we are. It's, thanks for sharing, dude. But like I said, you're not gonna fix this girl, and after 2 years, she ain't gonna change. She's married to her ideology. Facts, data, information doesn't matter, and she's just gonna behave this way until you either submit to her, which will just make things 1,000 times worse, or in this case, you just never speak to her again. If it was me, I'd never speak to this bitch again, because you're not going to fix her. She's not willing to change. She's not willing to see things your way in any way. Again, that's what I've seen. When somebody believes they're an expert on every single thing, even if they don't know the first thing, like, friends of mine that all of a sudden became experts on guns, even though they don't even know how to handle one or pick one up or have picked one up, and then they start lecturing me, it's like, really? Get the fuck out of here. So I don't talk to those people anymore, just because I want my life to be a drama-free zone. I'm not going to hang out with somebody that's brainwashed and thinks they're an expert on everything, even if they never went to fucking college. It's like, give me a break. So it is what it is, my man. But, you get a medal. I'm sure you guys can post in the comments. I'm sure there'll be people on the left that'll be all upset about this video and storm off saying they're unfollowing me or whatever. Good riddance. But you guys that have had similar experiences, maybe you can post it in the comments, because there are other guys that are going through this now that are trying to make it work with somebody that's acting nutty and is far left. And, just seeing stories like this and seeing stories from other guys, it's like, I haven't been able to get through, and I'm pretty skilled with understanding people. But when somebody doesn't accept facts or information or reality, despite the evidence, there's not, they live in an alternate reality that doesn't exist. So instead of trying to frustrate yourself, it's better to let them go on down the road and drive somebody else crazy, because life's too fucking short. And make sure you buy plenty of guns and ammunition and learn to train with it. So if you got a question or a challenge and you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com. Click the products tab at the top of your screen on any page on my website, and book a coaching session with yours truly. If you haven't already signed up for our exclusive premium members-only content, in the video description of this video, there are links to join on YouTube, or you can join on Spotify, or our website, understandingrelationships.com. Just click the plans tab when you get there. You can do a 7-day free trial to check out what content you get for your money. And if you choose an annual plan, you can get a 25% discount at the end of the 7-day free trial. So go to understandingrelationships.com, click the plans tab, sign up for a 7-day free trial today for our premium membership. And until next time, we'll talk to you soon.